Is being recorded. Alert. This meeting is being recorded by the host for a participant window.
So can you say that website for me again, Rosemary? I'm going to write it in the chat box.
www.mcbviradio.com.
Hey, B.
No, M is in Michael, C is in Charlie, B is in boy, V is in Victor, I is in India, radio.com.
And so what and they are you said that they were broadcasting a concert for the Ukraine?
They will be, and I think that's going to be on the 16th, but they're doing descriptive video movies every Sunday at 3 p.m. And this Sunday they're doing Field of Dreams.
Movies every Sunday.
Yeah, at 3 p.m.
It's a blind broadcast channel.
Yep, it's an internet radio station, a blind internet radio station. Yep.
You definitely got to check that out. That sounds interesting.
Yeah, they've done all kinds of different movies. I think that they've done like Dante's Peak. They did The Sting, with Paul Newman, Robert Redford. They've done several Ghosts, with Patrick Swayze and Whoopi Goldberg.
I believe on Easter Sunday they'll be streaming Passion of the Christ.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Okay.
And I think what's the other one that they've done? They've done several different, popular movies.
So that's something that I just became aware of, being sighted. I'm always becoming aware of things, and tools for the visually impaired. But I heard a thing on NPR about a woman who does descriptive theater, and so for the movies, I'll have to. I don't know if I'll be able to tune in, but I'm going to check that out because I'm interested in how that works.
It's pretty cool, Roger, because what they do is that they describe, like, from the very beginning. They'll read the credits. They describe the logos and everything, and the different. In fact, lots of times when sighted people listen to it, they get things out of it that they missed, that they didn't even see.
Yeah.
Hey, Roger, can you send that link to a text message to me, please?
Yes.
Thank you very much.
Okay, you tell them you'll be right back.
I'm going to make some notes here of things I need to do.
Alexa, resume.
Hey, Lindsay,
Yes, Dan.
why don't you mention your auction for the blue wire over there?
We're not having an auction.
I thought you guys were having
No.
an auction.
No,
It's the Mitten Phone chapter.
Oh,
Yep, it's the Mitten Phone chapter. Then we're having an auction on the 23rd of April. And I believe it's at 7 p.m. And we have our catalog up on our website, and registration is now open, and I believe we're taking registrations till the 21st of April. So anyone who's interested, you can go to www.michiganmittens.net. We got some pretty cool stuff on our, that have been donated.
I was just
And then one of the things that are donated is a Freedom Scientific home
Roger Boss to everyone.
thing for JAWS.
www.mcbvradio.com. Descriptive video movies every Sunday at 3 p.m. Field of Dreams this week. Easter Sunday will be Passion of the Christ. Alert.
So somebody needs to mute their audio unless they want to talk.
The voice reader.
Is that you, Dan?
no.
It's our JAWS that talks. Everybody has a JAWS that talks. You just
Right.
got to hit your control key and shut up JAWS.
Sean Wilbur
sometimes
has
it
joined
doesn't
the
want to
meeting.
shut
Alert.
up.
Okay, now Rosemary, what was the site of your auction site?
It's www.michiganmittens with an S.net.
MichiganMittens.net. And what's the, is this your ABVI chapter doing this?
Yeah. We're a chapter of the Michigan Council of the Blind and Visually Impaired.
Okay,
Hello?
And we're having we're raising some funds so that we can do a grant for members who need items of daily living or communication items and can't afford them.
Oh, gosh.
So that's what we're raising the money for.
okay.
And it's on our website. There's a letter explaining everything on the website and and a link to the registration form. And there's a link to the catalog so you can see what items are being on offer for bidding.
Okay,
So we appreciate anybody who would like to check it out. And if you think you'd like to, participate, please register.
okay. So your site is, this is the site, the MichiganMittens.net.
Yep, that's our chapter website, and that's where we have all the information on.
Okay, good. If anybody needs that texted to them, I can do that as well.
767 has joined the meeting alert.
Sorry about that.
Hello?
All right. Did somebody just joined?
Somebody just joined us.
Yeah, I did. Linda.
Hi,
Oh,
Linda.
hi, Linda.
Hi. I didn't think I'd make it back. I was with my sister, but we did make it back in time.
Great.
How you doing, Linda?
Today.
I'm doing good.
That's good.
All righty.
Would y'all go out of town?
Anthony's leader dog
No, we just
Alone has joined the meeting alert.
Somebody else
Okay.
just joined us too, Roger.
Let's see. Looks like I'm thinking this is Anthony Ward. Says Anthony's leader dog.
Who?
Anthony Ward. He's not quite in yet.
Well, he got a leader dog?
Well, I don't know.
Oh, I thought.
Oh, leader dog.
I thought that's what you do.
Anthony, is
I
this
thought
you?
that you said he had a leader.
Anthony Ward, is this you?
His audio is still connecting.
Okay.
And it looks like it should be good now.
Mm-hmm.
Hello, Anthony.
1 o'clock.
From Roger Boss to everyone. Auction site www.michiganmittens.net are raising funds for a grant for members who can't afford. Alert.
Must be on, he must be on mute.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, we are at 1 o'clock. And let's see, I want to close this thing here so I can see who's in. So I'm going to go through the participants so far, and then we can get started. Like I say, we may have some other folks joining us as we go along. So there's myself, Roger Bossi, Rosemarie Facilla, Willa Justice, Art Turner, Shirley Katzenberger from Rockville, Indiana, Linda Brown, Margaret Honeyyeager from down in the southwest portion of the state, Dan Bassett, Lindsay Levere, and Judy Franklin, and Don
Lang.
Don Lang, sorry. And then we have a new person to our midst. His name is Sean Welker, and Sean is kind of newly back in Battle Creek and kind of stepping back into Lions Club stuff. So he's with us today, and Sean has a background working with IRA, which is the eye thing, I don't know. He can explain it better. I mean, you guys know all about it because we've talked about it a lot on this site. But he currently is working with the Massachusetts Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired as I believe as a and I should let him just say what he.
I was gonna say, Roger, you want me to just take over?
Why don't you just take over?
Yeah.
All right. Well, it's really good to see some familiar faces here. Art, it's been a long time. It's good to see you again. So my name is Sean Welker. I am a former charter member of the Albion Lions Club in Michigan, over in the east side of Calhoun County. I served for a year and a half as secretary, a year as vice president, and a year as president. I did have a short stint at the district level with one of the zone chairs. It's been a while, though. It's been about 10 years since I've been involved in Lions. I did do a winter camp back then, up in just north of Battle Creek, so some of you may recognize my voice. I was the one that ran bingo, if anybody remembers that.
Okay.
I present as a middle-aged Asian male. I do have short, kind of tousled black hair. I wear black plastic frame glasses. I'm currently wearing a red sweatshirt and I have my headset on. Behind me, you can see some wood paneling that kind of encases one of those electric fireplaces. And then straight back of me is just a gray wall. I get to hang out in the utility room. So the work I've been doing, though, in the last few years, Roger mentioned IRA. For those of you who are not familiar with IRA, what it is an application that is a subscription service where blind or low vision folks can access a remote agent, such as myself when I was working for them. The agent then has the access to that person's back-facing camera on their smartphone, and they can pinpoint their location on a Google Map API. They can help them to navigate. They can help do visual descriptions. Oftentimes, we would have folks calling in about reading cooking instructions or helping them to identify things from photos, things like that. So I spent about a year and a half with IRA before moving on to a different position. That unfortunately didn't last very long because of COVID. I was in the ticketing industry for like events, kind of like a StubHub, but it was a startup. And we lost basically all of our business, 99% of our business overnight in early March when the pandemic really started to kind of rear its ugly head. So fortunately, because of the connections I had made as an IRA agent, one of the executive directors at MABV, the Mass Association for the Blind and Visually Impaired, brought me on board where I did a one-year apprenticeship in digital accessibility. And then since then, I've been kind of working as a jack of all trades, mostly working on digital accessibility, but also doing some advocacy work. I don't know, this is kind of an insider thing here as far as what we got going, but for any of those of you who use screen readers, you may notice that some sites that you access have what's called overlays. Those overlays tend to tell the businesses that use them that they are going to make their sites ADA compliant, fully accessible, keep them from any potential lawsuits. And unfortunately, we've definitely found that that's not the case. And those overlays tend to break whatever assistive technologies our users are actually using on their own machines. So we've been going after them, holding them accountable, and we're going to start working with them to kind of rebuild what it is that they do, how they do it, take a look at their business model, make sure that they're not only looking at the businesses that they're selling their products to, but also to the end users who are end up being the ones that are most affected by those overlays. So if any of you have strong opinions on overlays, I get it, I understand it, but we're hoping to shake things up and hold their feet to the flames a bit and get them to start moving in a better direction so that those products are not just good for that business bottom line, but also making sure that it's good for the users who are encountering them. So I also have been working with MABV for coming up on 2 years now. I also work part-time as an independent contractor with the American Printing House for the Blind. I just started that back in early January. So I moved back to Battle Creek from Albion almost a year ago, and just recently reached out to Roger. We talked a little bit about the Serial City Club. Didn't necessarily think that would be the greatest of fits, but he did tell me that there's this virtual club that is information. And I'd certainly, with those of you who are considering to be members, with your blessing, even though, I mean, don't hold it against me that I've got my vision. That's all I'm saying.
Okay.
I would love to come on board with all of you and assist in whatever ways I can to help make sure that club is successful. Particularly, being able to provide whatever assistance that you would need with technology and accessibility. So with that, at the end here, if anybody is interested, I don't want to take up everyone's time, so I'll in the chat, I'll put my email address and phone number. Text is okay. I understand many of you probably prefer text just because your readers are going to be able to read those messages to you and you have them there nice and handy. So if anybody is interested in reaching out to me, have further conversation, or just even talk about ways that I might be able to assist you as far as your own use with assistive technology, just
Can
let me
I
know.
suggest that you verbalize it here also?
I can most certainly do that. If anybody is ready, I
Because
can.
there are people that come on the phone.
Yeah.
And the only way they're going to get information is if you also include it as a spoken message here, your contact information.
Absolutely, all about having multiple ways of communication. Roger has my information as well, so he, I'm happy to allow him to share that information. So if anybody is ready, my cell phone number is 517 630 1420.
6201420.
517-630-1420. I'll type that in the chat as well.
That sounded like Mike Gino.
And then Roger, if you wanna shoot out my contact information to the group, I'm more than happy to allow you to do that. Anybody has anything that they'd like to discuss with me, don't hesitate. I'm just a text message or email or phone call away.
Alrighty, that sounds great.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's Michael, Roger. I'm here finally.
Hi, Mike.
I recognize
Hi.
your
Yeah.
John, thank you for
Is
that.
my video on?
Actually, no.
No.
Okay.
You probably didn't push the button that said join with video.
Yeah, that's all right.
We did have a couple of people join. We have a 313 number, 784 let's see, 5642. Can you let us know who you are and we'll rename you?
Ronnie Brown.
Oh, Ronnie. Okay.
If anyone's on a computer with a keyboard and wants to turn their camera on, don't forget it is going to be Alt plus V.
Plus what?
He is in Victor.
Alt plus V. V as in Victor. That'll toggle your camera on and off.
Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Let's see, 734-217-6701. Who's that? Can you let us know who you are?
Portia Smith.
Oh, Portia.
Yes, I'm Portia Smith. Yes.
Hi, Portia.
Hello.
She must be the 734 number.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi, Shirley.
Hi, Michael. You recognize me finally.
Yeah, and Rosemary too.
Yeah.
John and
Yeah.
Judy are here. Hi, Mike.
Hey, hi guys.
Hi,
Hi.
Michael. It's Margaret from Niles.
Oh, Margaret, honey, here's a big hug from Port Huron.
I'm fine.
How do you
And
do?
Art Turner here too.
Hey, there's my brother Art.
Yeah.
Are you in Michigan or Florida?
I'm in Michigan now.
Okay, then I'll stop turning green.
Look like everybody from Michigan.
Yeah, except for Shirley. She's in Indiana. She's a Hoosier.
Yeah.
So
I am not.
you're not a Hoosier?
No.
She's a transplant, but she's not a Hoosier.
Okay. All right. Well, I am. I'm a Hoosier, but I'm a transplant to Michigan. So, so thank you everybody for coming in today. And Art is here, and I'm wondering if Art might give us a little devotion to start with, or some words of
Okay.
comfort.
I'm not a chapter and verse by man, but the scripture, rejoice in the Lord always, is the one that is going through my mind at this point, that indeed we are a group together, and we rejoice to hear and see one another's faces and hear one another's voices. And so again, rejoice in the Lord always. And so we rejoice with each other and share together here this day. And just, I returned just yesterday, day before yesterday, from a trip up north to visit a man who was dying, and we were glad to see him because it was his next to last, and he died the day after we left. And so we really rejoiced in his presence and in time with him. And I rejoice with everyone here today and the group we've got, that this is a special group. And as we pointed out, we're scattered across the state and in Indiana, but yet together in spirit and together as our winter camp chat group. And so we rejoice in the Lord always, and we praise God for that. And so how about if we begin then with a word of prayer? Lord, let your spirit rest upon us. Rest upon this group scattered across the state, this group on the phone, on the computer, on their iPads, in seeing and not seeing, but yet together as one. Bless each one and bless this group. We might honor you and serve you through Lions and serving others. Amen.
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 All righty. Well, as I mentioned earlier, Kathy Koenig is not going to be able to join us today. She's I think she's very tired and needs some rest, and so she's we always have a lot of fun with her, and we'll miss her today. So the subject of today's call, we had discussed that we might possibly be doing a more in-depth discussion on the Lions Club formation, but we realized that not everybody is interested in doing that. So we thought that that we should just keep it to the winter camp chat, and we will be organizing a separate meeting for those who have a real interest in moving forward with the formation of a Lions Club. So you may be getting a call from one of our team members just to verify that, and then we'll set up a date to have a more specific call, with those folks who are, specifically interested in moving forward. So we know who you are because we have made a couple of calls already, and so we have a list of about 25 people who have expressed interest. So we really do have enough to start a club, but we have a couple of different options that we're looking at. So rather than go into all that here, unless you have questions, we're going to save that for another meeting. What we thought we might do today is think about what it is you're looking forward to as spring comes, and maybe specifically any definite plans you have for celebrating Easter coming up next weekend, this Holy Week. So it will kind of throw it open. And if anybody has any thoughts that they'd like to share on what they plan on doing, or what they'd like to be doing, and otherwise, if as spring comes, what do you plan on doing? Maybe out in your yards or whatever. So, and then if we have questions about things that we ought to be talking about in these chats, if you have specific comments or ideas about maybe speakers to come in. Sean's a good example of what he does. Maybe he could go more in depth about some of the things, like he talked about the overlays, if anybody has technical interest in those things. So anyway, I'll throw it open, and I guess I'll start because we have my family is kind of scattered out. I have a son that lives in Ann Arbor. I have a son that lives in Nashville, or Knoxville, Tennessee, and a son that lives in Rushville, Indiana. And so two of those three sons and their families are coming up for Easter. And so we have about an acre and a half, and so their kids now are getting to the point where they can do Easter egg hunts and things. And so we're going to be having a big Easter egg hunt out in our yard, and I think we'll get some of them to church on Easter. So we're looking forward to that, and it should be a lot of fun. And my granddaughter is going to be 2 this week, and so tomorrow we're having a 2-year birthday party for her.
Cool.
So does anybody else want to share? Judy?
Well, we're just going to be doing a lot of church. We were going to go to Don's sister's, but that kind of fell through because we have an important meeting we need to go to on the following Monday, and they can't bring us home till Tuesday. So that kind of got canceled. So we're just going to be here and just doing a lot of church. But that's fine. That's all right.
Yeah. Do you guys have a yard that you guys live in?
No, we live in an apartment.
You're in an apartment,
no.
right? So,
yeah.
Do you have plants that you have on your balcony that you start growing when the weather gets warmer?
Oh, no. Nothing like that. So.
All right. Well, thank you.
Here.
Roger,
Yes.
Margaret. I just had a gentleman, a lawn service come and clean up my whole backyard. Cost me a pretty penny, but then I have to do it once in a while. And my snowbells have been blooming, and my tulips and daffodils are starting to come up. And I'm happy about all of that.
Well, that's great. That's a great thing about spring is all these little things start coming out of the ground that we forget that they're there.
I can't see them, but everybody tells me. So that makes me happy.
Yeah, there you go. There you go.
Roger, this is Rosemary.
Rosemary, go ahead.
Yeah, I'm grateful that I have friends because, I have people who invite me to come, on the different holidays to their homes so that I can, be with somebody and not have to be alone. And I'm grateful for spring because every spring I can start to hear all the birdies singing. And we have all kinds of interesting birds around here. The other day I heard a turkey gobbling.
Okay.
And we have geese flying overhead, and we have all kinds of songbirds. And today when I went out at noon, there was some kind of strange sounding bird. It was almost like a duck. I'm not sure what kind of bird that was. But I always anticipate, I love when the spring comes because, during the winter it's so quiet. And then in the spring you start hearing all these wonderful little birdies singing and, knowing that, spring is on its way. And I'm just waiting for warmer weather so I can walk outside and, go places with my dog just for a walk because during the winter it's so cold and the wind is cold. You can't really go out too much. So that's kind of what I'm, just thankful for is all the good friends and neighbors that I have.
Do any of you have bird feeders?
Nope, I live in an apartment, then I'm in an underground level apartment, so I don't have a balcony. I have no way to do any of that stuff.
Okay.
I have awnings over my west windows, collapsible awnings, and I cannot see at all, but my friends tell me I have a ruby-breasted finch making a nest up in the corner of one of my awnings again. Last year, she had 3 babies in there, they told me.
You guys probably remember 2 years ago when we had our virtual winter camp, the lady that did the bird calls.
Yes.
Yep.
That did the bird identification.
What? See what?
she did a bird identification for the blind. She is blind herself.
Okay.
Her name is
Oh, okay.
Donna Passant, and so she does. That's kind of like her field of study. She's a professor at University of Michigan, but she does a lot of bird stuff, and so she did a session on identifying different kinds of birds, and it got to be kind of a wild session. If you remember, if you were part of that, and but if you were interested in that, we could probably have her back or have somebody come back and do something like that. We'd keep a little more control over it, because it was kind of a free for all. But it was actually pretty educational, even for a sighted person, because I hear birds, and I'm always wondering what are they, and if I can figure out where they are and I can see them, I can look into a book and say, okay, it's this or that. But to know how to identify them just by the sound would be an interesting skill to have, I think. So
There's a great book that I found in the regular bookstore called Birds of Michigan. And what was nice about it is I bought the book thinking, I would have somebody read it. And when I opened the package, there were 2 CDs inside. And there were all the bird calls that were pictured and talked about in the book on those CDs. And so it was a neat resource. And if any of you like that sort of thing, it's available through your Barnes and Noble and different places like that. It's called Birds of Michigan.
Excuse me, this is Willie just talking. Would they have it on cartridge? Because I got the digital player. Could you? Would they have that about the bird on cartridge?
NLS doesn't have it, but NLS does have a book that you can download called a Bird Song Tutor, and it is available with bird calls and other northern wildlife with descriptions of each before you hear them. And that's available through the Bard download NLS Talking Book webpage.
Oh, okay.
What does NLS stand for, Mike?
National Library Service.
Okay.
Sorry. And last thing.
Yeah, all of us are, patrons of that library, and all you need to do is call the library 1-800-992-9012 and ask them for the birdsong tutor. I'm trying to remember the author's name. Yes, you can get it on cartridge. Yes.
Okay. And what's the name of the book? Bird song.
It's a birdsong tutor. And
bird song.
Tutor.
Yeah, I don't remember the author's name, but they'll be able to find it for you.
Bird song tutor.
Correct. And if you're able to get online, you can just put it in a search field and it'll come up.
It'll download it for you. What's nice about it is this is not a book that you get read chapters in. It's a book of sounds, and what the guy comes on and he says what the sound is you're going to hear, and different, brief information, but it's mostly you're listening to birds and frogs and other creatures that are very nicely done.
And if you have a Victor stream, you can go online and get it, get it through that too.
That's how I got it. Yeah. And then, this one that Stan Tichiella, I think his name is, that did the Birds of Michigan. There's a lot of birds there that you will say, oh, I heard that bird outside. Now I know what it is. So that's another fun resource.
It's kind of interesting, Mike, is I have one of those bird clocks, and it has a different bird sound for every hour. And one of them is a bird that's around in my neighborhood because I hear it all the time. I just don't know what it is, though.
Yeah, Jeanette has one of those that still goes off, and every hour it's a different bird, and it says on the clock what the bird is. But there was an app that I talked about when Donna Posant was doing her presentation, and it's no longer available as a downloadable app, but it's called Bird Tunes. And
Yeah.
I remember Kathy couldn't find it, so
Bird
she didn't believe it exists. But what it is you can literally search in the app for, you can put some letters into the beginning. Let's say you want to find out what a robin sounds like. Well,
bird sing.
You can, and it will play every bird song. There's like 800 different types of birds with all different calls. And one of the fun things that I did with that app, and I still have it on my older Apple phone, is the black-capped chickadee makes 2 different kinds of calls. We have a lot of them around here. At this time of year, they'll do their pee-weep sound, but later on in the summer, they do that chickadee dee 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 sound. Well, I've been able to play my phone and play the alternate call, and if I hear a black-capped chickadee calling, my phone will get them to switch their call to answer my phone.
Okay.
Yep, they'll do that. That's
Yeah.
cool.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and
Speaking of bird, excuse me, I'm sorry, I mean to cut you off. Speaking of bird, do y'all remember the movie called The Bird?
Yes.
Oh,
Alfred
Alfred.
Hitchcock, the birds.
That was a scary movie.
yeah.
It was a whole lot of birds flying around,
Yeah, they were all attacking people all the time.
yeah, that didn't make you feel friendly
The
about
bird.
birds. But
I don't know
that
about
would
you,
be,
Will, but I was able to see when that movie came out.
that would be a fun program again. And just for fun, not only birds, but there are other animal sounds that you can hear. For example, in that one that I was telling you about, that's from NLS, they play the sound of a frog called a peeper. Well, I had heard peepers all my life and thought they were birds because they sound like a loud chick, a chick goes peep, peep. But peepers are actually frogs. And this time of year, there are whole, ponds full of them peeping away. And you would think there was a flock of birds out there, and it's really frogs.
Interesting.
Hey,
Yeah,
could you verify that number that you gave me for the NLS? I had it 1-800-982-9012. Is that correct?
Okay, you got one wrong number.
992-9012.
It's 1-800-992.
9012.
Yeah.
Okay. I put that in the chat just to have it there. And if
And they'll pick up and help you. Those folks are so helpful. You can talk to a reader counselor, and in most of the time when I make a request, they come through really well.
Yes, they do. I got a few cards I got to send back to them.
You better.
Well,
they'll
they'll take it. If you have a local branch library, they're usually very helpful too.
Yeah.
Can I ask a question about the? I just pulled up their site, NLS National Library Service for the Blind, and they show the player. Now, is that a special cartridge that goes in there, or?
Yes.
There are two ways, Roger. There is a special cartridge that is similar to a cassette shaped thing, because people were used to handling cassettes, so they decided on that. But also on the side of the unit is a USB port that you can put a regular flash drive in.
Yep.
And as you recall, when you sent out recordings of the winter camp,
right?
I told you how to format those so that when people get those, they don't need a computer. They can just take that flash drive and put it in the side of the NLS regular player, and it will play not only talking books, but audio files, which
okay,
on the side of the computer.
No, it's on the side of your digital player.
Well, I don't have no computer.
Well,
do you have a talking book player? Do you have a talking book machine?
I have the digital player.
Yep.
We slide and you can actually record too?
No. You can play flash drives other than their cartridges in it.
I have both. I have the one that you use the cassette tapes for and the updated one. But I also have the app for my phone.
Yeah,
Yeah, but because when I had got my digital player, it came with a flash drive too.
yeah. Most people don't know about them because there's a cap over the port and you can't feel it unless you remove the cap.
Yep,
Oh.
it's
So,
on the side.
Yeah.
so we had, and actually, I have to admit that we have the winter camp from February on a video in several parts, but I have not had a chance to download that onto thumb drives to send to you all. And so I'm going to have to revisit that formatting with you again, Mike, on a separate call. But
Yeah, and if that's a video format, the NLS player will not play that. What you
Well,
need to do is convert the audio from
Convert it
that
to an
video.
audio, yeah.
right,
Yeah.
yeah, and I have we have that. These all, when you do a Zoom recording, you get an audio recording as well as a video, and so
Yeah.
we'll use the audio on that. So
Yeah, because the NLS player cannot play only
Video, no.
specific formats. It can play MP3 and it can play WAV files. Other than that,
Yeah.
it can't play other files.
okay,
Nope.
all right, good to know. Well, I didn't know what those players looked like, and so I remember
Yes,
that
you
Carl
need.
Noble had said that you could use it for that, but
Oh yeah, it'll even play music.
Yeah,
You
if
know,
you have it
somebody-
on a flash drive,
okay,
Yeah.
all right.
but it has to be
So-
MP3 format.
So I'm going to
Yeah.
put on the list to talk to Donna about maybe doing another program for us and see, when we had her before, she talked about winter birds, and so we might talk about spring and summer birds.
1869. Happy New Year from Verizon. We have.
Sorry about that, guys.
Okay. So anybody else like to share about what they have plans for Easter or for the springtime warmer weather? And I did want to mention also that Renee Nicholson joined us, and Renee,
Yeah, I heard her.
you're out
Hi.
in New Hampshire.
Hey, Renee.
right?
I live in Sterling Heights, but
Okay.
I've been at the training center in Kalamazoo, the VSBP training center.
Yep.
So I have just completed my program and I'm actually going back home tomorrow.
Congratulations.
Congratulations.
Yeah. Good for you.
Congratulations.
So I've been, I've been living in Kalamazoo I've been at the training center for 3 months now.
News now.
Are there very many
Up
students
phone.
there?
Jeez.
Are there very many students there?
No, and it changes. There was like right now there's like 11 of us. But there's 2 of us going home tomorrow, and then there's somebody else coming in on Sunday. I know next week there's a few people leaving. So there was a period of time when I was here, I want to say maybe it was a week, or maybe it was less than that, but there was only 4 of us, 4 participants in the building.
Yeah.
Well, that big building.
Well, that's all because of the COVID. They restrict how many people. It's not that
Yeah.
they don't have people that can fill those places. It's just safety factors right now until the COVID pandemic is gone.
What's the most they can have now? Called the COVID in Kalamazoo in that building.
I'm not sure. I haven't heard that there's any restrictions on the amount of people. I just think people are not as anxious to come for physical training and, being in a close-knit environment and things like that. Because I know in the summer they're expecting a lot of teenagers.
Yeah, I'm not sure, Renee, because I had a friend of mine who is blind who lives here in Muskegon, and he was supposed to go to the center, and then they ended up doing his training virtually instead.
Okay, yeah, and it's great that we have that option. A lot of training you can do virtual, but there are some things that happen here that you can't really get virtual.
Right. But I'm just saying because he was scheduled to go, but I think because of restrictions, he ended up having to do his virtually.
Yeah, see,
Well,
that's what happened to me.
during the 3 months I've been here, they've lifted some of the restrictions. So at this point, any of us in the building, teachers and students, are no longer are required to wear masks. We can if we want to, but we're not required to anymore. And they used to take our temperature twice a day. Now it's only once a day. And we still have like the plexiglass shields in the middle of the tables in the cafeteria, but
Yeah.
they have started putting napkins and salt and pepper on the tables. So
Yeah, so things are opening up a little bit, yeah.
yes.
The little things. So Renee, what is your program? What was your program?
I'm in the work readiness program.
Okay.
And so I've been focusing on traveling skills, computer skills, AT skills. And the best thing that I did here is I was involved in the apartment program. So
Apartment program. All right, we are done.
they have, I may get my numbers wrong, but I think they have maybe 25 dorm rooms and 2 apartments. And so there's an apartment downstairs and an apartment upstairs. The apartment is the size of 2 dorm rooms put together. And so it has a small kitchen, a bedroom, a bathroom, and a small living area. So there's like a couch, there's a dining room table and a TV. And as part of the program, I have an apartment supervisor. And so each week I have to submit a weekly menu and a shopping list with the prices, the estimated prices. And once I submit that, then they give me a certain amount of money for the week to only, that I can only be used on groceries and like household things. Like if I need Ziploc bags or whatever, or cooking spray, like those type things I can use with my grocery money. And after I shop, I need to give my change and the receipt back to my apartment supervisor, because they have to, that those are all funds from the state that they have to account for.
Mhm.
And what method did you use to
I didn't
shop?
mean to cut you off.
Renee?
I'm sorry.
What method did you use to shop?
The bus. So I either arrange the Metro Connect, which is a door-to-door service, and at the center they let me borrow a cart. I'm not sure what it's called. It's something I definitely want to purchase on my own, that I can keep my groceries in, and that'll secure the groceries, when I take the bus back. There are several weeks where I couldn't get the times that I wanted when I was trying to reserve the connector. And so I knew how to take the fixed route bus and transfer buses and get to the store.
Were you able to select your own products, or did you have help?
I had a personal shopper.
Okay.
And I've never done that before. I've never needed to do that before. So that was a lot different. And so the first time I went, me and the personal shopper bonded really well. And so from then on, I planned my shopping day on a day when I knew that she was working. And I didn't always have her. There were a couple times she wasn't available and I had somebody else who was also great. But once you find a good personal shopper, you don't want to let that person go.
And most times
Was
when
the
I've used
personal
the
shopper
personal
provided by the store or by the commission?
No, it's actually a federal thing. It's required by the ADA for every business to provide a personal shopper.
Yeah, it's at the store.
Yeah.
Because I've done it many a time. I've gone when I, gone to Walmart and gotten a personal shopper. I usually call ahead and let them know I'm coming at what time, and then they have somebody available for me when I get there.
Yeah, I often forget to call ahead of time, so sometimes I have to wait, but it's worked out. I just say I go straight to customer service. And now they know me when I come in, because I've gone, like, every Monday is my shopping day. And so the guy that works behind the counter, he's like, I'll get Michaela for you. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, they get to know you. Yep.
Is it particular stores that have that service, or is it just in any store?
Every
They
store.
are supposed, as far as the ADA, they are supposed to all provide it. So
Yeah,
if they
every
do
store
not-
has it. Every store, and then because I've used them many different times, different stores. Walmart. I've used it at Myers. I've used it at Sam's Club. It doesn't matter what
Yeah.
store you go
Yeah.
to.
And even
Well, thank
clothing
you for-
stores and the dollar store.
Yeah, clothing stores, dollar store, any store you go to.
Thank you for the new information, because I did not know about that service. I did not
Yeah,
know.
the term that you probably will cue them on is personal shopper. But what I was wondering is, if I came to your house after all that shopping, what's your favorite dish that you would make that you like?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Got a whole lot of
something that
favorite
I like, that I like making, is banana nut pancakes.
Oh,
They sound good.
I'll be right over.
She said what?
Banana nut pancakes. Hey, Roger, we know who's making pancakes for winter camp, right?
Right.
Right? That sounds delicious.
It's easy
I ain't
and
never
it
heard
tastes
that before.
good, and
They sound
And-
good to me.
Do you
I get a
put whipped
little
cream on
protein
them?
in there, so
You don't have to.
Yeah.
You could, but I'm
No syrup. Banana nut pancake. Never heard it before.
Never heard
Yeah,
of
well,
banana
hey,
pancakes? Wow.
banana nut pancakes sound good to
I
me.
ain't never heard of chocolate pancake before too. I heard that's pretty good too.
Yep.
Yep.
oh yes, that's one of my favorites.
Chocolate pancake.
Yep.
Yep.
Well,
Blueberry
when you go
pancakes.
to look for a job now, because your job readiness, you're going to start your job search soon.
Yeah, I have some places in mind. And the one place I want to apply to is a year-round school district. So, so hopefully I can get in there fairly quickly. I want to continue working in childcare, and that was probably one of the biggest. Yeah, it's one of the biggest things that kind of changed my attitude about, is because the last day that I worked was a year ago. It was April 15th of 21. And when I left that, I got let go of that job. And the reason is because the director and assistant director, who in my opinion seemed to be worried about themselves and their company. Like they thought of me as a liability issue. So, and so they said that I cannot keep children safe. And which was just emotionally, it was just very, I don't know.
You know,
devastating.
Renee, what that reminds me of, it reminds me when I was in college, I had a good friend of mine. She had cerebral palsy, but she had a limp. She wasn't, severely limited. And she was applying for her, because we were in our social work program at college, and she was applying for, an internship at community mental health to work with the kids. And they said, well, if a kid got up and ran away, she wouldn't be able to chase them. And that's why they wouldn't give her the, her choice of internship. And we fought that because it was way back, when 504 regulations, before ADA even came into play. And she was able to get that position because we basically, that's crazy. And I know even we had another fellow who was visually impaired, and they wouldn't let him do his internship in the Marriage and Family Counseling Center. And we fought for that for him too, and he was able to get his position. And even myself, when I wanted to get a position with the VA in Cheyenne, Wyoming, this is when we were living in Utah, we had, I had to fight for that position as well. And I finally was able to get that because again, they said, well, you're living in Salt Lake, you should do it here in Salt Lake. And I told them, I said, no, I said, I'm not going to be able to get a job in Utah. I said, I may get a job someplace else. And here I ended up in Michigan. So I was right and they were wrong. So, but you have to fight for what you want.
See, that's what I'm doing now. Is I'm currently job searching for childcare work because I did the virtual classes for the job training and stuff out there in Kalamazoo. Well,
Okay.
I had the teacher I had, Miss Karen. She did a lot of work with me, and she even said that job training, like childcare, would be the best job for me because I'm so passionate about it. So I'm currently applying and searching for job training now.
Okay.
Good.
Yeah.
I want to work for children in a daycare.
Because what's happening is that you're being discriminated against because of your visual impairment.
Yes.
Yep.
So you have to advocate for yourself and you have to fight for what you want, because if you don't fight for yourself, you're not going to get it.
Yeah, that's right. Because I took a couple years off of working because the last job I had, I worked for a year and I was at Foreman Mills and I was doing retail. So I was doing fitting, I was working in fitting room, so I'd have go back and stuff. Well, halfway through the year of working, the main manager, she got this, she did discriminate against me, and I had written her up and reported it and went to headquarters with it, but they swept it underneath the rug. So at that point, I had to walk away mentally for myself because it was better if I walked away, and I took a couple years to figure out what I was going to do.
It's important to know what resources you can turn to when you face blatant discrimination like that.
Yep.
And I would, definitely contact organizations like the American Council of the Blind, National Federation of the Blind, but also the Department of Civil Rights.
Yep.
And there are other places too. So
Equal
if you get
Opportunity
feeling
Office.
discouraged in your job hunt and you find statements that are definitely ignorant about what you can't, they want to define what you can't do rather than see what you can. So
exactly.
you might want to get some help in terms of options you have to face that with some help.
Hey, this is Sean again. I'm going to post a link into the chat. This is going to be kind of specifically for both Renee and Gwendolyn. This is a link to an article from the National Federation of the Blind. And it's about a woman in Michigan. She lives in Williamston. Her name is Brandy Wojcik. And she actually runs her own in-home daycare facility. She's been doing it for quite a while. I remember working with her on paperwork just because the state required paperwork site just wasn't very accessible. So this is just an article. It's a bit old. I think it's from 2014, but it literally talks about her experience working as a blind daycare owner. So you might want to check it out. And yeah, there it is.
Okay, that would be great. Thank you.
Yeah, there are all kinds of resources relative to these experiences that you can read in publications like the Braille Forum, the Braille Monitor, and also you might want to even check out the American Foundation for the Blind.
Yep, they have good stuff too.
Yeah.
And Karen, my counselor here, actually she's the counselor of every student at this time.
Right.
She brought to my attention that there's something called the National Association of Blind Educators.
Yep.
Have you heard of that before?
Yeah,
I've heard of them before.
Yeah, she had mentioned it to me too.
Okay. And there's some type of way that I guess I can get in touch or connected with a mentor.
You know, there's a need for a lot of sensitizing about the blind and children. My wife, who's passed away now, I remember when we would attend a church and we were looking for volunteer opportunities in that church. And one of the places that she wanted to help in was the childcare room, you know, that that people leave their parents, the kids
Their
leave
children, yeah.
their parents in there. I got it right, don't I?
Some parents need to be in there.
Yeah. But
I would
anyway,
have let
the
you
kid,
left my parent.
it's childcare. And I remember when
Right.
she volunteered there, they didn't want to receive her help because they felt a blind person couldn't watch children.
Which is stupid.
And we had
I
to
agree.
educate them to the fact that as a blind couple, we had raised children of our own and even cared for other people's children. And all we need to do is get their eyes open to the fact that they don't realize what it's like. They just close their eyes and see all that they couldn't do. And so if you can get into your churches and other places, maybe we wouldn't face so much of this kind of discrimination to educate.
I know personally, like with my church, when we were in person, we had a nursery, and a lot of times my pastor, because he adopted me as the church daughter. A lot of times my pastor would put me in the nursery because a lot of times when I was there, the children were quiet. When they would put other people in there, they had children that would sometimes escape the room and come in the middle of a service. But when I was there, I kept the children busy because, and my pastor and my mom has both said it, I'm like an overgrown child myself. So I get down there playing with the toys with them and coloring, and so they don't feel like they have an adult watching, but there is somebody watching.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, I
And
want to
this is
wish you all the
important.
best in your job hunt.
Yeah, and it is important for educating people about, your abilities instead of being the disabilities, because I know that I have a small church, and what we did one time is we coordinated with the pastor, and every person who came into the church was blindfolded before they went into the sanctuary, and we did the whole service, with everybody being blindfolded. And it was really cool because then they got an insight into what it was like to participate without being able to read your bulletin, without being able to read your hymnal, those kinds of things. So it was very good.
Rosemary, I may have to take that and give that to my pastor and have him do it with our congregation, because I think that would be interesting.
It was very interesting. My pastor was willing to do that, and we did that. Like I said, though, we have a small congregation, so it was easy for us to do. I don't know, you could do that with a large congregation like a lot of churches have, but it was helpful.
But that's another thing that's really been beneficial for me, is because I still have a lot of residual vision, and so. But when I came here, my travel instructor, O&M, who taught me various things, he had me go under blindfold for certain activities probably 6 times. And I learned kitchen skills, and I had to cut vegetables under blindfold. And then another time I had to make a grilled cheese sandwich, fry it on the stove and flip it at the right time and all these different things, like under blindfold. And it's really made a big difference to my self-esteem, my confidence.
Well, of course, and it's interesting because, I've gotten several, guide dogs, and years ago we used to have some of the new trainers. They would come and participate in our class, and they'd be under blindfold the entire time. And they'd have a dog that was assigned to them, that wasn't a fully trained guide, was in training, but they'd have to go through the whole experience just like, we did. And it gave them a better insight, and when they were training the dogs and what we really truly needed for the dogs to be able to do. So it was pretty cool. We had a lot of fun with them too. We used to tease them all the time.
I think practical rehab takes into consideration that what abilities people have at the time, especially with vision, oftentimes deteriorate. And so they need to train for
Yes.
the scenario that it could come to, which is no sight at all.
Mhm.
And I remember when I came to the school for the blind, I had enough vision to read large print. And they said, well, you're going to learn Braille. And I said, well, I can still, no, you need to. And I'm so thankful that their wisdom overrode what my homeschool district would have not known to do. And that is to teach me Braille at a time when I didn't fully need it. And so while they are training you for things that you still maybe have some vision for, it's really preparing you to be
For a
confident
time later on, yeah.
no matter
You know,
what
it's-
happens.
What's interesting, Mike, is when I was losing my sight and, and I finally came to the point where I had to learn to read Braille, I had a difficult time with transitioning, sighted letters to Braille letters.
Yes.
And one time was kind of funny. I knew I made the transition because I was trying to write my roommate a note, and I started making Braille symbols instead of letters. And when I realized what I was doing, I was like, wait a minute, she's not going to be able to read this. This looks like hieroglyphics.
Well, what's interesting, what sighted people do is if they do learn Braille, like my kids learn Braille and that, is they read it with their eyes.
They do. Yeah.
And that's way easier than learning to read it with your fingers. And I remember
if you got good pattern perceptions, some people don't have very good pattern perception. They can't read it that way, but
I remember.
And then they have to understand Braille, because when I was working one time, they were supposed to be doing an audit and I was on vacation and that's when I was using computer disks for my, work instead of everything being on, hard drive like they are today. And they didn't realize that all the Braille labels that I had on my discs were placed upside down, because when you put it in a file and you face it away from you, and so they were trying to read these Braille labels that were also in grade 2 Braille, and they couldn't figure out with heads or tails what it was. Like, oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So I came back all these little sticky notes all over my discs. Like, what the heck?
What I wanted to share with you is the fact that when I was taking that Braille class, I was trying to read Braille with my low vision, and the teacher was blind. And she would typically come up behind me and touch my head and go, you can't use your eyes to read this. You got to use your fingers. And it took me 6 weeks to learn what the code in my mind looked like.
Yep.
It took me a year to learn to feel it.
Well, that's like with me. That's like with me when I was in I want to say 3rd grade, when my mom and I had moved back from Tennessee, and we were in Wayne County, and I went to the school called O.W. Holmes Elementary, and they had a class for blind and a class for the deaf. And they would intermediate mix the 2 classes during the day, but then we had our own separate classrooms that we would go to. Well, because I still have some sight, the teacher who I had, Miss Van Heath, she started teaching me Braille. Now to this day, I can go to public places and I can put my hands on the Braille and I know where like the restroom is, the elevator, and what the numbers are. But I cannot read a full sentence of Braille yet. But I try.
So I want to share something with you that I don't know if many of you are aware of, but the American Printing House is currently working on a refreshable Braille graphic tablet. And what it is with your refreshable Braille display, obviously it's, usually like 40, characters or whatever. But with this, it's almost like the size of an iPad. And so that entire surface is just covered with these, spots for pins. And what they're thinking about very specifically is with these mathematics, very graphical information as far as like textbooks and whatnot. So they're going to be able to, they're going to be able to, bless you again. They're going to be able to create images through the pin settings on these devices and include the actual Braille text on that same surface. So the really cool thing about that is if it's something like talking about, a sine wave graph or, something where it's displaying graphical information, the user will be able to touch and feel and be able to understand that image in the same way that it would be, displayed in a regular textbook. It's not ready yet. It's kind of in the prototype stages, but they're working with Humanware, which obviously we know is very trusted. So we're thinking that in the next probably 2 years, it's going to be ready for public consumption. But they did actually have it at CSUN this past winter and got some really good positive reviews on it. So hopefully that's going to be available for general consumption in the next couple of years.
Well, that sounds interesting, Sean. It's kind of like the old Opticon, because you could even read printing or, like handwritten printing with it because it just, it would vibrate the shapes of whatever the camera was looking at. So
right.
That's how you would read your text.
So one of the other things,
actual letters.
Yeah. So one of the other things too that they're talking about, and this isn't something that's in development just yet, it's more of kind of just in the idea stage. But obviously with your pin settings, those pins all come up a uniform height, right? Yeah. And they're talking about creating a refreshable braille displays where the pins will actually have different heights that they can be pushed out to. And so because of that, it would basically have the ability to create like almost like 3D mapping, 3D tactile mapping, which
that'd be cool.
Holy cow, game changer, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some really cool stuff that's coming out on the horizon in the not too distant future. And the great thing about it is that we've got primarily blind users who are leading the charge on this. I don't know if any of you know who Greg Stilson is, but he and I worked together at IRA many years ago. He left, I left, and it just happens that now we're both back together at APH. I don't work directly with him, but he's been doing some amazing stuff over there. So look forward to some more cool technology coming out. I did want to say one more thing too for both Renee and Gwendolyn and anybody else who is potentially, maybe not right now, but at any point in the future looking for job seeking assistance. IRA does provide a free promotion for anybody that's doing employment and job seeking, specifically because they realize that like 70% of the eligible blind and low vision workforce is unemployed. And that is a concern that they've had for many years. Like that was available. I remember when they first kind of came out with that promotion back when I was there about 5 years ago. And so it looks like from their website that I just went to that they still offer it. I believe they limit it to 1 hour at a time, but they will assist you with creating, reviewing, helping to format those resumes. You want it to look, sweet and sharp. They'll help you to fill out those inaccessible job applications. If you are navigating and you need assistance to get to and from those job fairs or interviews, if you have an Uber or Lyft account, they can literally connect those to your IRA account and they would actually be able to order those rideshare services for you. They can help you with identifying things with your outfit, making sure that you don't have a whole bunch of dog fur all over you before you head on in, making sure that your makeup looks good, making sure your hair is all right. All of these things that are very, very much barriers to that process. So check them out. I'm going to promote them as much as I can for folks who haven't used them. Additionally, yes,
I do have IRA, and I have played around with it. I'm not like 100% comfortable with it yet because I'm still learning it, but I have played around with it. I played around with it a little bit.
Gwendolyn, feel free to contact me directly. I am happy to assist. One of the other things that I wanted to mention before this wrapped up, and I do apologize, I'm taking up a lot of time here, but in my capacity at MABV, the blindness organization out of Massachusetts, I coordinate a team of 25 folks, volunteers who are trained to provide remote visual assistance through the Be My Eyes app. So if any of you have used Be My Eyes, it's very similar to IRA. They don't have all the bells and whistles that IRA does, but it's also completely free of charge.
We use that a lot.
we have a dedicated team, so you would not be getting just the regular volunteers. You would be getting specifically the MABB volunteers that have been A, background checked, B, trained and provided additional supports by myself, who I have over 2,500 hours of remote visual interpreting. And it's a team that they are super energized and they are super dedicated to what they do. Right now, we're operating Monday through Fridays, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. We're looking at expanding those hours into the evening, possibly adding that 8 o'clock hour in the morning and maybe adding some weekend hours. So if anybody is unfamiliar with Be My Eyes and would like to have further conversation as far as how you download it, I am familiar with assisting folks. Typically on iPhone, it does require a smartphone. I could probably, work through assisting you to download and get your account set up on an Android device. But by all means, let us know. We're looking for more people to assist. We're looking to help spread the word about the service that we're providing there. I do see that Judy and Don have their hand raised, so I don't know if they wanted to say something.
Go ahead, Judy.
Hello, it's Judy. Marion Ward was telling me about something she saw on Amazon, and I was wondering if anybody knew anything about it. It's called a scanner pen. And according to what she told me, because I know nothing about this, that it will read to you. Is this something that is available?
Never heard of it.
I'm not familiar with it.
Something sold through Amazon, but not made by Amazon. I think I did hear something about that, but I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not
that
familiar with
Amazon
it specifically, but there is a company called, they produce a product called Scan Marker, and it's basically like an OCR where literally you take it's not really a pen. It kind of looks more like a big meat thermometer. Okay. Except, so you would just kind of drag the one face of it across your text, and it's going to pick up those characters, and then it will send that information to probably some sort of like a tablet or a computer. And then obviously, if you've got your screen reader software on there, it would be able to read it through there. If you'd like, I can kind of take a look and see if I can figure out some more information about it. I'm not familiar with anybody that uses it, though. I see two more hands up.
I'm not either, but she said new it cost like $2,000, but they had some, used ones on Amazon. But I just wondered.
I'm seeing pro camera costs less than that.
I tell you what, you can pay me $2,000 and I'll do all that for you.
At a reader.
So there is a Scan Marker website. I'm seeing that they have them available for $129, but I'm not gonna promote it because I don't know anything about it. But I'll take a little bit deeper dive into that and see if I can't have some information for you for later. I see Renee's hand up.
Okay.
Yes, am I muted?
Yep. You're good, Renee. We can hear you.
Okay. So part of my training here, I've been introduced to like the basics of the Perkins Braille writer and slate and stylist, and then with some of the students here, like I've gotten to see a Braille display, and then I have a friend who has a Braille note, and then one of the staff that works here, he has, I forgot what he said it's called. It's has a Braille display, but then you can also write with it, and you can, through Bluetooth, you can connect it to an iPad or an iPhone. Like, I think he said it was like 14 cells or something. It's really small. And so I kind of want to like look into that more, as far as, a good device that can kind of do multiple things. Do you know anything about like a technology fair in Michigan, or?
Are you talking about specifically for assistive technology?
Yes.
Is Library Without Walls doing some technology? I know at one time, the Library Without Walls event used to have vendors come in and display stuff. And that's an event that's coming up, I think,
Yeah,
in
they do
May.
some, but they don't do, it's usually the basic stuff, I think. I don't think they have a lot of, new, experimental or, that kind of thing. This is Rosemary. I just wanted to say one thing before we wrap up today. Our Lions summer camp looks like we've been funded for that. And the dates are going to be the 12th, 13th, and 14th of August, that weekend. And
The 12th, the 13th, and the 14th, you said?
yeah, and we're going to be opening it up at this point in time. Lion Jack and I have talked about this, and we're going to be opening up to all the campers, but the only requirement we are going to have is that people are going to have show proof of vaccination before they come. That's going to be our only requirement, because right now it looks like our COVID numbers are dropping, but and then we still are going to be working on our transportation issue between Grand Rapids and camp, because there is no Greyhound between Grand Rapids and Muskegon. So we're working on trying to figure out how to get that piece, taken care of.
So this is going to be in Muskegon?
Well, actually, it's in, it's near Holton. It's on Big Blue Lake, and it's called Pioneer Trails Camp. And it's up in Holton, actually. But the Muskegon Host Lions are the ones who sponsor that camp.
Miss Rosemary, this is your girl, Gwendolyn.
Would you spell Holton?
Hold on, one at a time.
I'll wait. She can go first.
Okay, Gwen.
I definitely I definitely want to be on the mailing list to get an application. My grandmother who brought me, she's thought about maybe volunteering this year for summer camp. Is that okay?
That's okay. We just need to be sure that everybody is vaccinated. That's all.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, thank you.
Okay,
Second
Rosemary, would
question.
you spell Holton?
Holton, I believe.
Holton, okay?
Yep.
All right.
But it's Pioneer
Rosemary,
Trails
does that
camp
camp have Wi-Fi? Do you have Wi-Fi at
the
that camp?
Yes, the camp has Wi-Fi.
Okay, because maybe you could do, an event like this where even if people couldn't attend the camp, you could give us a little bit of an update of how things are going that weekend.
Oh, I don't know. That would be a challenge, because I'm in charge of the crafts, and if we got 20 campers like we've had before, it gets real busy, Mike.
Okay.
Rosemary, if I attend, I would be happy to assist with something like that. As far as being able to have some sort of a like a virtual check-in with folks.
Yeah, you and I talk about that and see how we could set that up, because they do have Wi-Fi, and because they didn't used to have Wi-Fi, and cell phone reception up there is pretty spotty.
Sure.
In fact, the only place you can get a really good cell phone, is in the middle of the lake.
They're probably bouncing off of Wisconsin towers.
Well, the only reason I know this, and this is kind of a sad story, but my mom had passed away on the 13th of August back in 2010. And I was trying to get the, the funeral home, because she lived in Florida, and I was trying to work with the funeral home, and I had to have Danae ride around on the lake until I was done with my call, because I couldn't get a cell phone signal at the camp.
I was going to mention too that the Clear Lake camp, where we do winter camp, has in the lodge, they have internet service.
Yeah, that's what we have up at the summer camps at the lodge.
Yes.
That's where they have the Wi-Fi service as well.
Yep.
And it's pretty good up there. If you connect your phone to the Wi-Fi, then you can get some reception. But if you're just using cell towers, forget it. Doesn't work well.
Rosemary, what city is Holton near?
Ask again, I'm sorry.
What city is Holton near?
Good question, because it's its own little city.
Is it? Well, it's near
all I can tell you is it's about a half hour north of Muskegon.
Okay.
Let's see. Let's see if I can find it on maps. But it is about 2:20, and we usually wrap up around 2:30. So This has been a
Roger,
great-
real
great
quick.
conversation. Go ahead, Sean.
I wanted to go back. Renee had that question about like assistive technology, and I just wanted to put a plug in for someone local. His name is Jason Meadow. Some of you
Oh, we know JJ, yeah.
Yeah, you might know, be aware of him, but he runs the site AT Guys. I
Yeah, we're
believe
aware
he's
of that
based out of
too, yeah.
Kalamazoo. So if you have not ever checked out AT Guys, Assistive Technology Guys,
He's been on this call, Sean.
yeah,
he's been on
I
the
kind
call
of
before,
I
too.
kind of assumed.
So
but
we already know
Yeah,
about it.
Okay, just wanted to make sure.
JJ.
Yeah.
They've got
Yeah, you
great
say,
customer
you say
support.
Jason, and they're not gonna know who you're talking about.
I gotcha.
But thank you, Sean. Yeah, we all know about JJ.
Good deal.
And he's also had his contact information distributed over these calls.
Okay, good deal.
Yeah.
So
Oh, well,
Another plug.
I don't have it though.
Renee goes late to the party.
Yeah, we'll get that to you. I was gonna also put a plug in for Sabrina Simmons, who is also a winter camper, and she has started a business in the Detroit area to help folks with their assistive technology. And
Right,
so
yeah, I saw that. That was
she takes
interesting.
clients to help, kind of one-on-one help with their devices and things like that. So she's another one over in the Detroit area. So depending on where you're at, if you're in the Kalamazoo area, then JJ's great, but if you're in Detroit, he's not so close, and Sabrina may be able to help you out.
well, you were wondering about technology. The AT Guys do a podcast where they go to see some of these other places, and they actually interview and do
Yep,
shows
yep.
on this technology. And that's a podcast you might want to subscribe to and listen to.
I just listened to one of those recently on a reader. I think it was, I don't know what it was about, but it was earphones. I think it was. The guy was reviewing, and
Probably Aftershock headphones, yeah.
so I will try to find the site for that podcast, and I will send it out to everybody. And I'll text it. We'll text it as well as on email.
Yeah. Because if you have a name for it, lots of times you could pick it up like on your Victor Stream or on your Echo device too.
Yep.
Roger, Renee has her hand up.
Renee.
I think that's old.
I think
Oh,
old.
yeah, it was never taken down from before.
So
I just want to thank you, Roger, for continuing to host these things. I don't always have the ability to get this time free, but I've always enjoyed it when I can.
Well, we enjoy having you as well, because you have lots of resources and information available that just do nothing but help people. So it's great. I was going to mention to Linda that Holton is directly east of Whitehall, Michigan. So if it,
Okay, I'm not sure where that is, but it did help when someone said it's about a half hour drive from Muskegon.
Right.
Yeah, that's about right.
So it's out in the middle of nowhere. It's kind of in the middle of nowhere.
But if you look at, if you're able to have somebody check it out, Big Blue Lake is the lake that the camp is on, and it's off of what they call Fruitvale Road. And what's interesting is that there's several camps that are on Big Blue Lake. In fact, the YMCA Camp Penaluan is right next door to Pioneer Trails, and we sometimes hike on some of their trails too, and they allow us to do that. There's the Boy Scout camp there, and I can't remember what other ones. There's a whole bunch of them,
I think
all on the lake.
The music camp is
You said the lake was Big Blue Lake?
Correct.
Okay.
I was going to say, Rosemary, you might think about writing an article that we could put in the Lion Pride, which is the state newsletter.
Yeah, I know. I know the Lion's Pride. I'll talk to Jack about that.
And put in there, about the issue with the transportation.
Oh, okay, cool. Yeah.
And then that gets people thinking about volunteering to do that, for people in their
Because
area.
I think last time we talked about that, maybe it was last year when we had a small group of campers, that somebody from the Grand Rapids area was going to try to work with us on that. So we're going to work with that, because I know that Tyrone said he thought he had a person that could drive them from Detroit up to the camp. we've had a bus that they could do that with. So hopefully they can work that out. But anybody coming from, that can't connect up with that particular group is going to have a hard time, because like poor Shirley, I have, basically she has to fly to Muskegon. She can't take the bus to Muskegon anymore.
Yeah, the Wyoming Lions Club takes quite a few campers from the Grand Rapids area down to Delton, where the winter camp is, and so they might be going to do a ferry service over to over to Muskegon.
Yeah, I know. I've worked with Cheris Austin on that, and it's harder. Some for the summer camp seems like it's a little more difficult to get them to do that, because I guess people are doing their summer activities or whatever. But
right.
But like I said, for Shirley, she has to fly to Muskegon from Indianapolis because there's no buses up here anymore.
That's a shame. Let's see. So while we've been talking, David Sterneman and Kashania Graham have joined us. We are getting ready to probably wrap it up today.
Yep.
So, but what about next month? Do you want to go ahead and have one next month?
In May?
Fine with me.
That would be May. If we go the third week, that would, I just had it here a minute ago. The third Monday, which is what we typically do. This was
third Saturday.
The third, yeah, exactly. The third Saturday, which would be May 21st.
That would work for me. I don't have anything on that day.
Nope, that won't work for me, Roger. That's our that's state convention weekend.
Oh.
Lions State Convention weekend is that weekend.
Oh, that's right.
Oh, yeah. MD11.
Yeah, it's the 19th, 20th, 21st, and 22nd.
That's right. How about the 14th?
When's Mother's Day?
No, and that one also won't.
Oh, yeah, that's right. May 14th is Mother's Day.
No, that won't work anyway, because we have our district convention that day too.
Okay.
May 8th is Mother's Day, everybody.
Yeah, so
Not
the 14th would work, I think.
Yeah, the 14th won't work for me because that's district convention day.
So would May 28th be okay?
That's
If people want
Memorial
to do
Day.
it on Memorial Day
That's
weekend.
Memorial Day weekend.
I know I
skip
couldn't.
May and go to June.
We better skip May. It seems like May's busy.
Well, there was discussion previously about doing this every 2 months instead of every month.
Now, why don't we just skip it to June?
Well, that'd be fine too.
Yeah, good idea.
So that would be, let's see.
June
When are you gonna be in
18th.
Montreal though, Ro?
It's the 24th or whenever I think it's 20, can't remember. 22nd, 23rd, 24th, some of the international convention, Lions International Convention, Roger.
Yep.
It'll be the end of June, yeah.
That's the end of June. So the 18th,
Yeah.
I know that I have a conflict on the 18th and the 11th, but that's okay. I mean, we can have Kathy moderate the call. So
Unless we want to do it on the first Saturday in June.
the fourth,
I was
yeah,
gonna say, would June 4th or June 25th work for everybody? One of them 2 days?
25th would not work for me, but the 4th would.
Okay.
the 4th would
So we
be
do-
okay.
We can do it first Saturday.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
Okay.
That won't work very good with me, but that's okay. I don't need to be on.
Yeah.
Turner here.
Oh,
Yeah,
Art, we'll miss you.
It's my wife's birthday. I don't know if she'll mind.
Uh-oh.
Well, I'll say happy birthday to her.
That's right.
Yeah.
Well, why don't we go ahead and say pencil in the 4th of June, and
If it doesn't work, we can just
We
change
can-
it to another
can
next month or something.
yeah, we can change it. So it's a little harder to get people in the summer because there's more things to do. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
that's
Well, that depends on who you ask.
That's true.
But that just depends.
That's true.
Mhm.
We'll say that we'll tentatively say June 4th, and
And if it doesn't work out, we'll just have to reschedule, that's all.
right.
Yeah.
Right. Well, thank you, everybody. Thank you for calling in. And Ronnie, was good that you joined us. We'll be talking to you. And
All right. Well, everybody, you have a great, great couple months, and we'll see you in June.
Happy Easter
Okay.
to everybody.
Happy Easter, everybody.
Yeah.
Thank you, Mike.
Happy
Bye.
Easter.
Happy Easter. Bye.
Sure. Bye.
Bye-bye.
God bless.
Yes, definitely.
Thank you, Roger.
Hey, thank you for calling in, Margaret.
Welcome.
Bye, Roger.
And bye, Shirley. Glad I didn't kick you out today.
No, I know. It wasn't you. Last time I was on, I had to leave because I had some a family problem come up, so I had to leave early last time.
Renee, thanks for sharing your experiences today.
Yes.
Yeah, it was great to talk to everybody and get some input.
Yeah, that's what we're here for, is to support each other. So that's perfect. It was perfect. So thank you so much for doing that. You too, Gwen. Hopefully you guys can get some jobs pretty soon here.
I'm really glad we do this once a month because it really does help a lot to have just that extra outlet to talk to people that we all know what we're going through.
Right.
No, exactly.
But it really does help.
Yep. That was one of the ladies that came to winter camp, and we haven't really seen her since. But she had been recommended by the center, actually the Kalamazoo, to come to camp, and she was like 75 years old, and she said it was the first time in her life that she had actually been able to talk to people who were also visually impaired and understood what she had gone through all of her life. And it was a very emotional experience for her just to be able to do that. And
yeah, I can imagine.
And so, because she'd been pretty much visually impaired her whole life. And
wow, and she's never had a support group.
No. They got and finally somebody said, well, you need to go to the Center for the Blind in Kalamazoo. And that was kind of a game changer for her. So they do really good work. And it's just amazing what people go through life without being able to see.
See, I can relate with her because most of my life I have been taught to be very independent, and even through high school, middle school, and elementary, I didn't really have a support group that I could go to and talk to people that understood me. So when I did get with the Pontiac Lions Club and I got introduced to winter camp and even summer camp, and then being around with all you guys, it's just I feel and I'm part of something that's really good. I don't feel like I'm by myself in this world. Because even at home with my family, I love my family to death, but they don't get it what it's like to be blind.
Yeah.
They don't they won't truly understand it until either it happens to them, but even then they won't understand the love of it because I've lived this since childbirth.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, most people with sight don't understand. And that's the whole point that Mike was making about the the child care stuff. It's you need to we need to educate people, what it's like. And I appreciate that Sean, when he introduces himself, describes his appearance.
Yes.
And that's not something I have ever thought to do.
Right.
So I have not much hair on my head. And a bushy beard right now, which is not.
You're still good looking.
And I wear glasses, and I'm 68 years old. So.
You're still a spring chicken, Roger. Come on.
Still young.
Around.
So anyway.
Well, I hope everyone has a wonderful Easter because this Easter I'm spending it with my boyfriend. It's our first Easter together.
Nice.
So I hope you all have a lovely Easter, and I'm gonna jump off here because I've got a few things I gotta do before I go pick them up from work later on.
All right.
Okay.
Well, good deal.
Y'all have a blessed one.
Okay.
Happy Easter.
Blessings to everyone.
Right.
I'm going to sign off too.
Yep. So, all right. We will see.
Thanks, Roger.
Soon. Yep. Thanks, Renee. Judy and Don, if you're still there, have a great Easter.
We're still here.
Okay. Well, we're pretty much signing off. So
yes, we are. But we just wanted to say Happy Easter to everyone. Have a blessed Easter.
Yep. Thank you so much.
So, thank you very much.
Okay.
Good meeting.
We will talk to you soon.
Bye now.
Bye-bye.